Hello, I'm Janet Witten, Training Director here at the Methodist Home. I'd like to welcome you to our team and tell you that you've truly joined a great organization and a great heritage. As members of a team, we all share common goals and values, which you'll learn about more in the next hour. You'll also learn about our programs and services, quality assurance, and policies and procedures that'll help make your transition as smooth as possible. Joining a large organization like ours can be exciting but also overwhelming. As a new employee, intern, or volunteer, you may have some additional questions that aren't covered during this hour. Our goal is to introduce you to some key members of our team who can help point you in the right direction. We're happy you've joined our team, and I look forward to working with you.
Hello, my name is Allison Evans, and I'm the President and CEO of the Methodist Home for Children and Youth. And I'm so glad you're a part of our legacy. Welcome. I want to tell you a little bit about our history and our mission and our values. Starting with the mission statement, I want to break it into a couple of different portions. The first part of our mission statement says, in response to Christ and the church. That's important because that defines why we do what we do. We want to make sure that you understand that you are now part of a very vital ministry that is reaching out to help children and families in response to Christ and the church. It goes on to say that we're a model organization. We want to set the standard for child care. We want to make sure that we're on the cutting edge and bringing the very best care that we can to those that we serve. Our mission statement is very focused on restoring childhoods, bringing back that sense of innocence and joy to our children. We want to strengthen families and build them to become all that they can be. And of course, we want to cultivate a people-building organization which not only includes the clients and families that we serve, but it includes you, the employees, interns, and volunteers who have now become a part of our family. Our vision has been adapted from a professor by the name of Spencer Milham. He talks about the fact that within our walls, we want to make sure a child receives more physical care, more love, more understanding, and more encouragement than he is likely to experience outside of our care. Thank you. The Methodist Home has built and developed a number of values that we all embrace, and it's important that you hear about them now because it helps define who we are and what we expect of you. We consider ourselves all servant ministers. We encourage and embrace the fact that we want to serve others without a motive of personal gain. It's truly a heartfelt mission. We believe strongly in the value of learning, not only for ourselves but for our children. We want to make sure that we are giving them every opportunity to equip them for lifelong success. We embrace the value of respect. We think it's important to treat everyone with dignity, and I mean everyone, at all levels of the service and interaction that we have with one another. Trustworthiness. Together we want to build relationships with our families and with our children and with our coworkers as we work together based on a sense of competence and a strong sense of integrity. My hope is that as you work together with us every day, that we develop that sense of trustworthiness built upon integrity. We believe in a strong sense of responsibility. We must be accountable, first and foremost to those we serve, our children, our families, accountable to them in many different ways, the ways that we act professionally as well as the way we provide services to them. But equally important, we must be responsible to those who fund us, those who support us, those who reach and dig deep into their pockets and invest in our ministry. And also we must be responsible to those who we work with and showing that responsibility as we work together as a team with respect and dignity. And finally, one of our most important values is the value that we are going to be a caring organization. We are going to show compassion, and that's reflected back in that vision statement, that our children will receive more physical care, more love, more understanding, and especially more encouragement that they would not receive if they were not in our care. Thank you for helping us to embrace all of these values as we reach out to serve the children and families of Georgia. And now a little bit about our history. In 1856, the Bibb County Widows and Orphans Home was established, At that point in time, we were 3 miles outside the city limits of Macon. After the Civil War, a Methodist minister, Jesse Boring, worked to establish a place of refuge for needy children and youth. In 1872, it all came together. Bibb County sold the property where we currently stand to the South Georgia Conference of the Methodist Church for just $1. We thought it was a great deal. Since then, the home has evolved from a 92-acre working farm with a few small buildings to an organization with multiple sites and services located across South Georgia. Our focus remains helping those abused, neglected, abandoned, or at-risk youth and building and strengthening the families not only from which they come, but for which they will have in the future. The Methodist Home is a part of an international connectional ministry. Here in the United States, the United Methodist Church is made up of 5 regional jurisdictions. Georgia is located in the Southeast jurisdiction and is comprised of 2 conferences, one in the north and one in the south. Our formal name is the Methodist Home of the South Georgia Conference. We are led by a 30-plus member board of trustees, many of whom are ministers and lay leaders, business people who are very much invested in the future of our children and in the work that we do here at the Methodist Home. Together, they lead and guide our organization and provide us with all we need as we continue to fulfill our mission. There are over 600 churches in the South Georgia Conference, most of whom are completely invested in our work and, along with us, share in the joy of our ministry. Often they invite us to come to their churches and tell them about the success of our children. We couldn't do our work without them. Being affiliated with our churches, and because we are a charity, we have an enormous responsibility. The responsibility of stewardship. Think about it. We are charged with taking care of other people's children, and we're asked to do it with other people's money. It's a sense of stewardship and responsibility that is incredibly important. And now you are a steward with us. It's my expectation that you will do your job every day with a sense of urgency and some common sense, as together we reach out to serve the needs of those most vulnerable members of our community. Think about it. We're stewards. We have been given the awesome responsibility of taking care of other people's children. Who would you leave your children with? People have entrusted their child to us. And on the other hand, we're doing that with other people's money. Who would you leave your money to? Stewardship is an awesome responsibility, and we must balance those 2 priorities each and every day with a sense of accountability, responsibility, and trustworthiness. As an employee, you can do this in many different ways. People get a measure of our organization by how you look, by how you drive, by how you treat our children, by what you say when you're off duty. Your appearance, your behaviors, the way you act is a reflection of who we are. My expectation for you and for me is that every day we're living up to the values of the Methodist Home. Here at the Methodist Home, we also have a program called Cultivating Character. It reinforces our faith-based component as we work with our families, our clients, our employees, and volunteers to impart good moral character. And that also extends to our children and families. This effort is championed by our chaplain. Each month, a specific character trait is selected and information is disseminated throughout our organization as to how you can embed this character trait into our work with our children and into your life as an employee and a volunteer. I hope that you will pay special attention to this particular program because collectively, as we build and unify our organization on good moral character, we will be stronger and more vibrant as we move into the next years of service for our children. Returning to our mission, we talked about that earlier. Let's hit the 3 basics again. Restoring childhoods. So many of our children have come to us and they're broken. They're hurt. They're angry. But with us, they must start out with a sense of new hope. you can help provide that for them. We want to make sure that our children live in a safe, caring environment and that they are returned to their homes or their adoptive homes or transitioned back into the community with a sense of hope for the future. Every day I want you to think about what you're doing to restore childhoods. We also want our children to know that they will experience God's love when they are with us and in our care. And we encourage them to build positive relationships through our faith community. Strengthening families is another main pillar of our mission. We have worked hard over the years to develop this portion of our organization because it's not just the child that we're working with. It's their family, no matter what form their family is in. We provide high-quality therapeutic services that promotes permanence and stability. We want our children to be healthy in every sense of the word, and that includes strengthening and building their families into a healthy unit so that they can continue to grow and thrive with us in our community. And of course, we're a people-building organization. That includes you. Our employees, we want to invest in you in strong training and viable opportunities for you to grow professionally. We want to provide you with a safe and well-equipped working environment that promotes a competent workforce. And I want you to have the confidence that when you come to work every day, that the basic needs will be provided for you so that you can in turn keep 100% of your focus on our children. Another way that we build people and represent our organization is through our statewide and national networking. Oftentimes the Methodist Home is an advocate for children, a voice for children when their voice can't be heard. So at times leadership will step out and take a stand on an issue that we believe is important to the children and families of Georgia. I'm confident that you're going to join us in those efforts as we truly try to improve the care established for our children. I want to encourage you, really encourage you, to think about the journey you're embarking on, to think about all the things that you can do to help change the life of a child, but to ask you to make sure that you respond and choose every day to come be a part of this greater mission, to join us in this great legacy as we will impact the lives of children and hold the standards of the Methodist Home. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Hello, my name is Jeff Lawrence and I'm the Vice President of Programs here at the Methodist Home for Children and Youth. The Methodist Home is a child caring institute. We're licensed by the Office of Residential Child Care, and we are contracted by the Office of Provider Management. We provide room, board, and watchful oversight services for children and youth ages 6 to 18. We provide these services across the 5 regions of the South Georgia Conference of the Methodist Home. Our main campus is located here in Macon, Georgia, where we serve 78 children, both male and female, at base, additional, and maximum watchful oversight. Watchful oversight is a term that we're going to use throughout this presentation, and I must say that this is the most important function that all of us are responsible for in our daily work. In addition to the traditional residential room board watchful oversight program, the Macon campus also provides a specialized treatment program for abuse-reactive children. This program is known as the STARS program, and it's a prevention program for sexually abused boys ages 6 to 12 years old, designed to offset juvenile sex offender behaviors. The Macon campus is home to 8 living units. We also host Price Elementary School, an accredited Bibb County elementary school serving grades 3 through 7. We have a full-service clinic on our campus staffed by a psychiatrist, a pediatrician, and 3 registered nurses. We have a state-of-the-art dining room facility and food services staff that cater to the staff and children and a variety of customers throughout our community. We're also home to Eagles Nest Children's Center. This is an award-winning daycare center providing a nurturing environment for children ages 6 weeks old through 4 years. The center operates every day throughout the year. It also hosts a summer camp for children 5 to 12 years old. We even offer discounts for our employees who utilize this service on our campus. We also have on our campus a gymnasium complete with basketball court, racquetball court, a wellness center, a game room, and a clothing room. We have outside play areas, including a playground, a sports court, tennis courts, regulation softball field, swimming pool, picnic pavilion, and a therapeutic ropes course. Also, a variety of administration buildings on our campus, including the Rumford Center, which is a state-of-the-art office, training, and meeting facility. In addition to the residential programs, the Macon region is also home to Lighthouse for Families. Lighthouse for Families is a full-service outpatient mental health facility located at 116 Pierce Avenue. Lighthouse for Families provides an array of services throughout our community, including a full range of outpatient mental health services to the residents of the Methodist home and to children and adults and families throughout Macon and surrounding areas. We host an intensive visitation program serving DFACS Region 6, a 10-county region that includes Bibb County. The intensive family visitation program allows families who have experienced domestic disruptions to visit with their children in a safe, structured, and therapeutic supportive environment. Lighthouse of Families also provides comprehensive child and family assessments for children and families throughout the Macon area and our region. As you can tell, the Macon campus sort of stands at the center of service provision for the Methodist home. These services are replicated in varying degrees in 4 other regions throughout the South Georgia Conference. If you go out west, our Columbus region is home to residential sites, Our House at Carpenter's Way Ranch and Our House at Arabella. In 2002, the Methodist home partnered with Columbus for Kids and established Our House, an emergency shelter community service center in Columbus, Georgia. In 2008, Our House was closed and we merged with Carpenter's Way Ranch, which is in Catawba, Georgia, and became Our House at Carpenter's Way Ranch. The Carpenter's Way Ranch campus has 3 living units, serves 27 boys ages 6 to 17. In addition to the ranch, the Columbus region is also home to Arabella Home for Girls, located in Waverly Hall. Arabella is a very beautiful antebellum mansion designed to serve 12 girls ages 13 to 17. Americus, Georgia is home to the Americus campus, the first regional site opened by the Methodist home. It was opened in 1994, has a regional office building on site and a residential cottage that serves up to 12 girls ages 13 to 17. The Valdosta campus was established in 1997. It too has a regional office and a residential cottage that serves 12 girls ages 13 to 17. Our St. Mary's campus was opened in 2002 and provides residential services to boys ages 13 to 17. The St. Mary's campus has a residential cottage, a regional office building, and an outdoor sports court and a fully equipped wellness center. All room board watchful oversight services are licensed and regulated by the Office of Residential Child Care and are contracted by the Office of Provider Management with the Department of Family and Children Services and the Department of Juvenile Justice. Room board watchful oversight services are contracted at 3 various levels of service: base, additional, and maximum watchful oversight. Each level of service carries with it the primary responsibility of providing adequate levels of supervision to maintain the safety, the security of each resident entrusted to our care. Because supervision of our residents is of utmost importance, the Methodist home staffs all of our units for maximum watchful oversight, which requires a 1-to-5 staff-client ratio. The core function of supervision is provided by the child care counselor. The child care counselor provides for the day-to-day provision of supervision, safety, care, and welfare of each resident. They also provide for the upkeep and cleanliness of the living unit and the maintenance of documentation of the progress or lack thereof of each resident. The child care counselor is directly supervised by the program manager. Program managers are responsible for the day-to-day functioning of the living unit, including but not limited to hiring and terminating all staff, adequate staffing of each living unit, the ongoing supervision of the child care counselor, ensuring the quality and care provided the residents, ensuring the cleanliness and the upkeep of the living unit, adherence to the licensing regulations and contract requirements, and ensuring adequate adherence to all policies and procedures of the organization. The program supervisor is supervised by the human services professional or, at some sites, the residential program supervisor. It is this person's responsibility to maintain all residents' files and individualized care plans, to maintain effective collateral relationships with referral sources and legal custodians, to supervise and manage program managers, and to establish and ensure a safe, caring, resident-centered milieu in the living unit. Organizational lines of authority are defined by the Methodist Home Organizational Chart. Employees are required to respect the lines of authority in all matters pertaining to the workplace. The organization has a clearly established grievance policy, which employees are encouraged to utilize when unable to resolve any issues or concerns that affect their employer. When efforts to resolve issues or concerns through appropriate lines of authority are not effective, it is important to know that all members of the leadership team maintain an open door policy. Any employee is free to interface with the leadership team whenever they deem necessary. It is important to understand that the Methodist Home is a residential workplace, providing for our residents 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This means that all employees must be flexible enough to work nights, weekends, and holidays, to work additional shifts or different shifts as need dictates, to work where needed and when necessary to travel to different regions to work. They're also required to attend mandatory training and acquire the mandated training hours each year. It should be emphasized that employees who work in campus settings, either here in Macon or at the Carpenter Way Ranch, are being employed by the organization, not by a particular living unit. Your assigned unit can be changed at any time based on campus or organizational needs. The Methodist Home provides room board watchful oversight services to a population of severely traumatized and emotionally injured young people ages 6 to 18. Because of the degree of trauma experienced as a result of a variety of adverse child experiences, we find that children in care oftentimes respond to everyday routine occurrences with adverse and challenging behaviors. The Methodist Home prioritizes the safety of all children, youth, and staff, and we have adopted policies and procedures to manage challenging and aggressive behaviors. All staff should read and review the Behavior Management Manual. This manual is posted on the Methodist Home website. That manual will outline all of the policies and procedures addressing behavior management at the Methodist Home, and clear instructions on how behavior interventions are tracked and documented. Central to that document are our policies on corporal punishment, mandatory reporting, and physical restraint. It is the policy of the Methodist Home that no corporal punishment of any type is to be used in response to challenging behaviors. This policy includes, but is not limited to, any physical, any verbal, or emotional abuse. No spanking, hitting, pinching, yelling, name-calling, insults, anything of that nature are to be used in response to any of the behaviors of our young people. Denial of any essential living needs, such as food, drink, clothing, shelter, bathroom, sleep, is prohibited. As employees of the agency, we are mandated by law to report any known or suspected abuse to the Department of Family and Children Services in the county where that alleged abuse take place. It is the policy of our agency that any alleged abuse be reported to the local DFACS office by the administrator in charge in the region. The organization has adopted CALM UK as our programmatic response to challenging and violent behaviors in our setting. All employees will be required to successfully complete CALM UK in the first 90 days of their employment. Please understand, if you are not able to complete this training in the first 90 days of your employment, you will not be allowed to continue to work at the agency until such training is complete. CALM is a whole organizational approach to managing violent and aggressive behaviors, and it includes a variety of physical restraint techniques. It is the policy of the Methodist Home that only techniques approved and taught by the organization can be used in intervening with our residents. The only exception is when imminent threat or danger is present and the safety of the resident supersedes the use of a CALM technique. In that instance, any intervention of a physical nature should be documented as an emergency safety intervention in the same manner as a physical restraint. All physical restraints and emergency safety interventions must be accurately documented in our Collider Care system in a timely manner. Such incidents should also be reported to the on-call professional, who is responsible for any additional reporting deemed necessary. Another component of Room Board Watchful Oversight Services is the adequate provision of health care for our residents and staff. Provisions are made in each region for the day-to-day care, medical concerns of the residents. Guidelines are in place to respond to any unusual or emergency medical concern or need. Non-emergency medical issues should be referred to the clinic if in Macon, or to the local medical professional if in one of the regions. Common medical issues such as headaches, minor colds, coughs, etc. should be treated with authorized over-the-counter medications. Emergency medical issues must be addressed in the following ways. 911 should be immediately dialed and an ambulance summoned in the case of accident or injury involving broken bones, blood, or unconsciousness. Any other injury, sprains, jammed fingers, anything of that nature, should be treated at local med stops or emergency rooms. Residents may be prescribed medications by a variety of medical doctors, including the psychiatrist. All medications are accurately recorded on what we refer to as the medication administration record and must be administered as prescribed. All staff are trained in medication administration in the first 90 days of employ, and we must take this job task seriously. Any missed medications, any medication errors must be verbally reported to the nurse on call or the on-call professional, and these incidents must be recorded on the medication administration report, and an incident report must be entered into the Collider Care system. Employees must approach all medical issues, emergencies with personal safety in mind. Training related to such things as blood-borne pathogens and universal precautions will be required of all employees in the first 90 days of employment. It is the responsibility of the employee to report any potential exposures to blood-borne pathogens and to seek the appropriate medical attention. Support for any unusual concern or emergency occurrence is available on a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week basis by way of our on-call professionals. In every region, a manager is assigned on-call responsibilities, and this person should always be available and responsive to the living unit. The on-call professional is the first line of support, followed by the regional director or the residential program supervisor, then the vice president of programs, the executive vice president, and ultimately the president CEO. Any issues involving hospitalization, incarceration of one of our residents, serious injury, or, heavens forbid, death, must be reported to the VP of programs, the executive vice president, and or the president CEO. The safety, security, and well-being of all of our staff and residents is the most important aspect of our organizational mission. Towards that end, key leaders in the organization are always available to address any concern or issues of any staff or resident in our programs. In the event that you need the support of any of our leadership team, please feel free to contact Dr. Jeff Lawrence or Ms. Jill Myers or our President CEO, Ms. Allison Evans. Their contact information is available for you as displayed on the screen. As the Vice President of Programs, let me say to you that I welcome you to our organization, and I encourage you to come to work every day and do the best job in providing physical care, love, support, and concern for all of our young people in accordance with our vision statement. Thank you and welcome to the Methodist Home.
Hello, I'm Robin Trantham, Vice President of Human Resources here at the Methodist Home. The Methodist Home has established policies and procedures to help guide your work. It should be noted that the entire manual can be found on our website. All employees of the Methodist Home shall meet the education requirements and experiential requirements as outlined in their job description. Direct service employees must meet the education and experiential requirements as outlined in the Office of Regulatory Child Care Standards, our contract requirements with the Office of Provider Management, and the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. The Methodist Home strives to provide a healing and nurturing environment for its residents in the least restrictive and most appropriate setting possible. That environment is compromised when employees resort to the use of inappropriate physical force. Therefore, it is the policy of the Methodist Home that corporal punishment shall not be tolerated. Examples of corporal punishment include, but are not limited to, spanking, slapping, switching, paddling, or hitting a child with a hand or with any object. The entire policy regarding corporal punishment and inappropriate abusive treatment of residents can be found in Section 3 of the Human Resources Policy and Procedure Manual. It is important to remember that all employees, regardless of your position, are mandated reporters of child abuse. Any claim of abuse, maltreatment, or neglect of a child in care of the Methodist Home is a serious matter and is to be treated as such by all employees. If an employee suspects that a child is being abused, maltreated, or neglected, they should make a report to their supervisor, who will contact the Vice President of Programs and the President CEO within 24 hours. In the event the incident involves a supervisor, the employee shall report the suspected abuse to the President CEO directly. Suspected child abuse, maltreatment, or neglect shall be investigated by the Methodist Home's President CEO or under the direction of the President CEO, and shall be reported at a minimum to the appropriate Department of Family and Children's Services agency, the Office of Provider Management, Office of Regulatory Child Care, and Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. The entire policy regarding suspected abuse or maltreatment, including definitions, can be found in the Human Resources Policy and Procedure Manual under Section 3. The Methodist Home has developed policies to establish parameters for relationships between employees and clients. Relationships between employees and clients should remain professional and therapeutic in nature. Employees are to report any undue familiarity expressed by a client or towards a client by another employee. Employees shall report to his or her supervisor, Vice President of Programs, or President CEO any verbal or nonverbal communication indicative of an inappropriate relationship between clients and staff. Again, this entire policy can be found in the Human Resources Policy Manual under Section 3. We are excited that you have joined our team, and we look forward to working with you in the future. If you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to contact me or anyone in the Human Resources Department.
Hello, my name is Jill Myers. I'm the Executive Vice President here at the Methodist Home, and my direct supervision, I supervise admissions, I supervise the Eagles Nest Children's Center, I supervise Lighthouse for Families, and I supervise all the performance quality improvement processes here and the accreditation processes. So I'm here today to talk to you about several of them, and the first one we'll talk about is the performance quality improvement, or otherwise known as PQI. You will hear that sometimes. What is PQI? The PQI program and processes here at the Methodist Home is comprehensive and multifaceted. It includes different checkpoints, performance indicators, survey initiative that includes staff surveys, it includes consumer surveys, it includes us talking to our collaterals about what can we do to improve our services. It's about talking to our board members about what do we need to do to improve what we can do in the community and the services all across South Georgia. It includes how can we improve services that are needed in the communities that we're not serving yet. The PQI process is constant and it's incremental. It means that if we're doing something today and we can change it, or if something has occurred or a child has been injured, how can we improve that to where it doesn't occur the next time? So the process changes at the lowest level to the child and to the consumer that we're serving. It can be with the children, it can be with the staff, it can be with the community, and anybody that we may come in contact with. So those indicators are compared over time. It can be compared with our strategic plan. Allison's already talked to you about the components of the strategic plan. The main focus is on the quality of the services we provide, the safety of the clients that we serve, the safety of the employees. We review every other month who has tripped, who has fallen, why has that happened? Is it because of something that we have done? Is it because of a shoe that a particular maintenance person is wearing? We review all of this information, and so we are looking at that constantly. We're comparing that to the highest industry standards that we provide, and we regularly review and evaluate all of those programs regularly. You, as a new employee or a possible intern or a volunteer, are invited to be a part of that PQI meeting that occurs every other month. Also on our intranet is a PQI icon that you can go in and you can actually see what our meeting is about, the agenda, and the minutes of that meeting for the last year. So we're constantly have that information in what we're doing. And another component of that meeting is also the risk management meeting. So more information that you will need, but that is what PQI is, and you'll hear a lot about that. So that is the introduction to PQI. Hope to see you there. Accreditation. Council on Accreditation is one of the 3 accrediting bodies we're a part of. The Council on Accreditation, or otherwise known as COA, is a national child and welfare accrediting body in which the Methodist Home was voluntarily accredited since 1988. And what is important about that is we were one of the first organizations that had that voluntary accreditation. And since the 2000s, we have had that part of our contract, but we have had that voluntarily, which means we were voluntarily subscribing to the highest standards since the 80s, and we're very proud of that fact. And so that is something we renew every 4 years. EAGLE is a part of the United Methodist Association faith-based accreditation. EAGLE is an educational assessment guidelines leading towards excellence, and that is specific to faith-based organizations of the United Methodist Church, and we are unique in that because other organizations that are not faith-based do not have that accreditation. I am a peer reviewer for both of those, and so I am able to go across the country and also accredit both of those accreditations for other organizations, and are able to bring back practices that may improve the Methodist Home as well as contribute to other organizations, which continues to improve what we do. The third one we're especially proud of is the NECPA, National Early Childhood Program Accreditation. It is a national accrediting body in which the early learning centers in Georgia are asked to participate in. At the Eagles Nest Children's Center is additionally accredited. Thanks to Deshangi Corey, she led us in this effort voluntarily. We were asked to be a pilot of that. And so our Eagles Nest Children's Center, who serves 40 children from ages 4 weeks to up to 4 years old, is actually accredited with all 3. And that's one of the very few things that we're very in this community, and we're very proud of that. Child and family rights and responsibilities. Each living unit and service area has posted rights and responsibilities. This is asked of us by our contractors and our accrediting bodies. These rights and things you and I may take for granted, but sometimes our youth and families may realize this for the very first time. We review these rights and responsibilities in admission with every child and every family. They're posted on the living units, and we actually reinforce these ongoing and during key times of service delivery. So it's very important that you're aware of these and be familiar with these rights of the children and their families as you work with the children. The grievance policy. The grievance policy at the Methodist Home is very important. The Methodist Home is aware that many clients, employees, stakeholders here seeking services and care from us feel a keen sense of injustice and helplessness. Sensitive to that fact and aware of concerns and disagreements that can occur on all levels, whether it be staff, whether it be children, whether it be their families, the grievance policy at the Methodist Home provides a procedure for all clients, employees, volunteers, potential stakeholders to make formal complaints or to appeal any decision we may make about them or about their care. It is our hope to resolve these complaints informally and at the lowest level possible. When such efforts do not succeed or for any other reason, the desire to pursue the grievance is sought. The procedure is provided in detail in the HR manual, and I think it's at section 6.2, and in the resident handbook provided to that child at admission. The Methodist Home has an open door policy that any child or employee can meet with the president, CEO at any time. And that's true. I think Jeff shared that with you earlier, that they can meet with any leader before that, but certainly the president and CEO. The name and phone number of an advocate for each region, as well as Ms. Evans' cell phone number, is posted in each living unit for the ease of these complaints. And we encourage the children to do that. And just so you would know that happens, and relatively just knowing that the child has that opportunity is rarely used, but the fact that they know that they have that possibility gives them a sense of empowerment, and we are trying to establish that sense of re-empowerment for the youth we serve. HIPAA confidentiality. The Methodist Home employees must understand that medical information is personal. We are committed to maintaining the privacy of protected health information as well as, or also known as PHI, of the clients we serve and employees. which includes your medical and/or mental health condition and the care and treatment received from the Methodist home as a consumer or an employee. It may include family information as well. We create a record of the care and services received at the Methodist home or while employed here at the Methodist home. We comply with all legal requirements and are bound by federal law pertaining to the release of information. We have strict rules about the release of information and how we file that release of information and how that is released. And that right now that I am the privacy officer, and so those requests come through my office and through the archive room and are done by myself, Jill Myers, and Anna Richards, who is also my assistant. So at any time you feel free to call me. The 2800 can get you there, or 478-751-2849. I'll be glad to help you with the release of information, but we must protect that. We're bound by federal law. And so that concludes this section of HIPAA and confidentiality.
In the course of this video, you have met several of our leaders and been introduced to both the mission and the vision of our agency. You might recall that part of our mission statement involves becoming a model agency that restores childhoods, strengthens families, and serves as a people-building organization. As part of that effort to become the model agency, our agency has adopted what we are calling the sanctuary model approach to serving our young people. In 2010, the state of Georgia required that all child-serving organizations such as ours become a trauma-centered environment. The sanctuary model will give us a platform for becoming that child-centered, trauma-centered environment that will restore childhoods, provide safety for our young people, and begin to address the trauma that they have experienced throughout their lives. This is a very exciting time for the agency. This effort is being funded by the St. Mary's Foundation, who very generously afforded us a 3-year grant that will allow us to introduce this model throughout our agency. Beginning in 2014, we will enter into a whole organizational approach to the sanctuary model in providing care and services for our young people. Thank you for joining us at this very exciting time of our agency, and we look forward to you being a part of this very new model of care for our young people.